This time we'll resume our meeting of October 19th, 2015. Councilmember Friend, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Velasquez.
Here.
Council members Clower.
Here.
Gomez.
Here.
Friend. Here. Luna.
Present.
City Manager Alvera.
Present.
City Attorney Diaz.
Present.
Chief of Police Westrick.
Here.
And City Clerk Thomas Graves.
Present. Verification of agenda posting.
The agenda for the City Council of the City of Hollister regular meeting of October 19th, 2015 was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on October 13th, 2015 at 4:16 p.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you very much. City Attorney, anything to report out from closed session?
No action taken, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight we have a proclamation, a recognition, Employee Service Award. First one is National Philanthropy Day, but they're not here tonight.
No, sir.
And we'll move on to the Marine Mammal Center. Are they here? There they are. Come on up.
Mr. Mayor, your slideshow's ready.
All right. I have a special show for you guys. Come on this way. This is a very special group. Tell you a story here. About a month ago, or a few weeks ago, my family and I were out at Moss Landing taking a walk on the beach, and we came across a sea lion that at first we thought was there to pose for my kids, and we quickly realized that it was under distress. So as we realized that, my daughter and my wife instantly let me know that I have to figure out a way to save the sea lion. Well, you're out on the beach and you start to wonder, what can you do to help the sea lion? And quickly I started going on the internet, looking around at ways to call for help. First option I thought was 911, but I kept looking. I thought there must be a better answer. And I found that answer as I was looking through the internet. The Marine Mammal Center had an emergency number to call. So I called that number, and to my surprise, somebody answered right away.
On a Sunday?
On a Sunday afternoon. So they asked where we were at and what the issue was. I told them over the phone what it was, and they said they would be right out. So I hung up the phone, and I thought, well, where are they coming from? We looked around, we thought, well, Monterey or San Luis Obispo. So we sat there for a while, and we thought, well, we're going to stay here till they show up. They called back a few minutes later to make sure that we were still there and we could stay with the sea lion until they got there. And they let us know they were actually out of Moss Landing, which made us pretty happy to hear. So I want to show you the video of what happened as they came about, these four great volunteers that showed up that day and just really amazed us. They're pretty tough young ladies.
Is that the mayor or the sea lion?
We got him next.
Yes.
Doesn't have a tie on. It can't be the mayor.
Now, right around us, you'll probably see there's several people watching. This became a big event on the beach there, where several people wanted to help save. as my daughter called her, busy.
They're trying to get it into that carrier right now.
And you can imagine this is not an easy task to, there's my family and some spectators.
Something to follow.
And I was there helpless. I was like, I'm not going to go there. The thing's going to bite me. The experts have it handled. And they did. They were pretty amazing to come out, help Busy into the carrier there. And then they used me to help carry her back to their truck, which was about a quarter mile away, I think it was, with several other folks along the beach that were willing to help. And I was just so impressed. So often we hear from our young people that there's nothing to do in our community. And there's another organization here, the Wildlife Foundation, in our community. But as a young person or any person that cares about our ocean, Monterey Bay, or that want to participate, there's a great group here that really did an exceptional job. Unfortunately, Busy did not make it. She was very sick, and they can explain why or what happens there. But please help groups like the Marine Mammal Center. They're very important to us, and I just can't thank them enough for coming out that day. And from my family, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I'm a little nervous at this, so I'm actually going to read something. I can talk in front of the kids, but so I'm a volunteer and also the crew supervisor with the Marine Mammal Center. Oops. And on Sunday, September 27th, they were dispatched to rescue Busy, the California sea lion that had come ashore at Salinas River State Beach in Moss Landing. And with the help of selfless members of the community, including Mayor Velasquez, the rescue was a success. Our state-of-the-art animal care and research facilities, along with dedicated volunteers and an engaged community, allow us to accomplish our mission, to expand knowledge about marine mammals, their health and that of their ocean environment, and to inspire global conservation. Our core work is the rescue and rehabilitation of sick and injured marine mammals, and we do eventually release them back to the wild. That is our purpose. And so on behalf of the Marine Mammal Center and all of our volunteers, we thank you for this incredibly kind award.
Thank you so much. And your website, so all our young people, our community can come volunteer for you?
Yes, and we have brought a few things for you to share. We've brought a book for you to maybe place in your library, and some membership cards and rescue cards to carry in your wallet when you're on the beach.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And where should I put this?
You could leave right there with the attorney there. Go grab it. It'll give them something to read for the next hour. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Take care. Next, we're going to do the Employee Service Awards for the third quarter of 2015.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I'm here tonight to award Mr. Julian Camarillo with his 30-year pen. That's huge. That's 5 presidents. That's the big tech gadget of 1985 was a car phone with a cord in your car. So Mr. Camarillo is a water maintenance operator with the city. He has his water treatment operator certificate and his water distribution operator certificates. One is the guy who goes out in the middle of the night when you're having a problem and helps you. One is the guy who goes out when the water line breaks and gets in that cold water in the big dark hole and doesn't stop until the water's back on for you. So we all owe Juan a huge gratitude for his 30 years of service with us. and I'll be proud to award this to him tomorrow. He didn't make it tonight.
Congratulations. Thank you, Juan.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to congratulate Julian, and I happened to see him today on, I think, McCrae Street. So I pulled over and I stopped to congratulate him because I know what a dedicated employee he is. So thank you.
Thank you very much. This time we're going to move forward to the consent resolution. Are there any items the council would like to pull? Any items from the public?
I make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 5-0 vote. Move to public input. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Please note that state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, sir, we do. The first speaker is Bonnie Florence Voropave.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. My business is DLG Printing in downtown San Benito on San Benito Street. I'm here to invite the city council members to the meeting on Wednesday, which has been highlighted as an informational meeting on San Benito Street restriping. But there's a lot of businesses that are going to be there because they didn't know about the restriping. And there's been a lot of confusion and misinformation or not clear enough information. First of all, thank you for having this meeting. Secondly, I would like to invite 2 city council members that haven't heard from the businesses to please come to that meeting and to listen to us. We're concerned. Our street has been closed 27 times this year so far. That's 27 times that we've had an impact on our business, our revenue, and your sales tax revenue. So when you make decisions, it does affect us and it does affect you both. So we need the information to go back and forth. So again, I'm inviting you to come. There will be businesses that have questions as in, when are you going to do the restriping? How long is it going to take? Am I going to have to tell my employees that I'm closed for a week? You don't have any salary for a week? We don't have any income for a week? There is a bottom line. Please talk to the businesses. It's very important. We want to work together, and we want to build our city together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move.
Maria Elena Sanchez.
There's actually 3 of us on the same topic, so we'll give you the paper. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Elvira Zaragoza Robinson. I'm an attorney here in Hollister. I've been practicing law for 40 years. And my friend Nena has brought up something that I felt needed to be shared with our City Council, and she wanted to share. And so I came as a support for her. And this came about really a few months ago. She asked me, Elvira, I'd like our kids, our dance group, to dance. We don't have a place. Could you help me find a place? So I contacted a friend of mine, Dante Baines, and I said, hey, do you have a place where this group can dance? And he said yes, and he gave us a location to dance. And I just want her to express how she was treated. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for having me here. My name is Marilena Sanchez, but everybody calls me Nena. I would just like to say to my City Council that in 2 incidents, not just one in July was the first incident. Well, let me tell you a little bit about me. I do danza. I teach Aztec dancing. I'm a maestra. I've been doing it since I was a young little girl. It's a tradition that I learned from my family. And I wanted to share this with the kids here so this way our young youth wouldn't be out in the street committing crimes. The danza that we do, it's for free. We do not charge. You know, I love doing it. And I feel so proud because not just myself, but my whole family has done it, my children, my great-grandchildren. And I have a lot of danzantes. I have a lot of young kids that do danza with me. And like I said, you know, it's something beautiful. It's our culture. And the kids, I have this for the children, so whoever would like to join. I'd like to let you know a little bit about the first incident. This happened in July. Alvita told you that. I asked her if she can help me find a place because we were paying Presbyterian Church and it was costing us $300. We don't get grants or anything. So whatever, we provide everything for the danzantes and we go to ceremonies and stuff. But Mr. Banks was nice enough to donate a building for us.
So we usually we have 3-minute time, but I'll let you wrap up what your point is.
Okay. My point is that this gentleman, Mr. Baines, let us borrow a building for free. He donated it to us, and which we are very grateful for. I've been treated very badly. I was disrespected. They made me feel like garbage. They made me cry. Because the building code enforcers asked me for my driver's license, ran my my car, and everything like if I was a criminal. I've never been in jail. I do a lot of things to help out my community. So I just felt that this was very, very important that you guys are aware of what's going on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I just feel that, you know, this gentleman was nice enough to lend us his building for free to help these children, a lot of these kids that are at risk and stuff. Most of all, I want to say on the second time, the same thing happened. And there was a gentleman there, and he was also a worker. He was doing some work there. And they treated him like garbage also. Mrs. Grover, her supervisor, turned around and told him if he came, first she asked him.
Can we?
Okay.
I know there's a lot of information behind this, but if we could.
But I just want to say something real quick. I won't even read this. He was treated like if we had committed a crime, you know. And he was just there trying to fix this door so we can have air to come in. They told him that if he came back, they would arrest him. And if I came back, they would arrest me. I just feel that, you know, okay. So then I had never met Mr. Baines, and he came.
Let me stop there. Unfortunately, we're going way over the time limit.
Okay. Well,
and then we'd have to do the same for everyone on an item. But I think we could maybe deal with this through a letter to council members. And
I would just like to say that maybe you guys should look into it because I just feel that we do a lot for our community, and it's very nice that he also.
Appreciate you coming by.
Let me just wrap it up. I want to say something, and Mr. Baines would like to say something. This is a woman. There's 3 minutes each, I thought. Okay.
And you can, but the problem here, and maybe the attorney could guide us on this, is it's on the same item. So if you could wrap it up, and we can.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up. She's a humble, godly person who was mistreated by the code enforcers. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
Okay, and that was done more than at least 2 times, and also to an employee. And they were asked for their driver's license. They were discriminated against. They felt really bad. Okay, so this has to be, I think, looked into. If somebody walked into a courtroom, no matter if somebody's charged with a trespass or a murder, the judge has to treat them with respect. So I think these code enforcers have to treat people with respect. And I just want the council to know that I will send a letter, and this has to be looked into, because people like this shouldn't be treated in that manner. And I think Mr. Baines wants to say something.
I'll just take a few seconds. Yeah, I think sometimes that people all should be treated as if they have respect. Okay, they should. I think this particular code enforcer was very rude to me. She just was off the chart. The communication was really bad. She treated my employee like he was a foreigner. So I have a lot to say, but I guess this is not the time to say it. But I want to wrap it up by saying maybe if they could take a class in community sensitivity, I think it would help for communication between prospective individual and the code enforcer. There are a lot of good code enforcers in this city, but this particular one was rogue that day. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much for coming out and speaking.
Marvin Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Marvin Jones, South Street in Hollister. Hey, we had that athletic event, that road run, last weekend, and streets were closed. Want to commend the city and all for giving us ample notice. Actually, 2 notices came by. Your street's going to be closed from 7 o'clock to 10, may get open a little bit earlier, which was fine. Again, the second notice even had the map of where the streets are going to be closed. Since our street was closed at 6:30, I went out to move my vehicle, and the barricades were already up. Okay, I moved the barricade and moved my vehicle so I could get to it later mid-morning. Not a real problem, other than that if you're going to close the streets at 6, say that it's going to be closed at 6, and that I would not have gotten up at 5:30 to move the van. No. So no real complaint. It was just a minor inconvenience, and I understand it was a good event, that things went off well, and hope you do it again next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ruth Erickson.
Good evening, City Council and community. The City Council and the community are invited to attend a special one-time screening of an award-winning movie made in Hollister, San Juan Bautista, and San Francisco called Man from Reno, and will be shown 9:30 a.m. at Premier Cinemas on Saturday, October 31st. Tickets are $7.50. Can be bought at the door or online. After the movie finishes, there'll be a special Q&A with the director, Dave Boyle. See if you can see some of the locations and recognize where they were filmed in this county and some of the local extras in the movie. Further details are on Bonito Link, Mission Village Voice, the Freelance, San Benito County Chamber of Commerce Out and About, and various Facebook pages. I have some cards and flyers here if anybody is interested tonight. If anybody wants more information, they can go to the website, Man from Reno. It's very exciting, the fact that
Hollywood knows we're here. This is the second movie that this particular director has made, partly in this county. So we're trying to bring more films here because it's good business. And also, I would hope at some time we could bring back the film commission that we had about 25 years ago. I was on that commission, and gradually over the years it kind of fizzled out when it got to the chamber, and it really hasn't been doing much. But when you can bring a lot of business because of the movies that come here, whether it's a movie or a commercial or a TV event, this is a good county to come to. A lot of movies and commercials have been made here. So please come out October 31st, 9:30 a.m. and see if you recognize some of the people in it and some of the locations. I know where they are, but you may not. So give me a call if you want to know more, or go online. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And finally, Marty Richmond.
Good evening, members of the City Council. Marty Richmond from Hollister. You know, the people who live in the city of Hollister pour an enormous amount of money into the community college here in both the regular tax support and the special bond we pay. And the taxpayers put an enormous amount of money. I don't know if anybody knows it, but almost 95% of the cost of a community college is paid for by the taxpayers, not by the students. That's a lot of money. But, you know, we don't hear much from them. I mean, stuff leaks in and out. We need it. And I see from a recent announcement the President Kinsella has announced his retirement sometime in 2016. We need to ask some of the representatives of the Board of Trustees to come in here every 6 months, in my opinion, and give us a report. I mean, if Assemblyman Alejo can come here and make a report on what he's done, I don't see any reason why they can't come in here every 6 months and make a report to this community about what's going on and especially what affects this community. There's been a lot of banter and a lot of comments about education on the internet in San Benito County recently, arguments about districting and so on and so forth. And we know how it works right now, which is basically we have a two-tiered system. Some of the people do very well, and some of the people don't do well at all. And there's enormous differences between schools such as Southside, where they score in the high 800s, and schools such as Calaveras, where they score 650 or 630. It's a 175-point difference on the API test. And, there are some people who want to convince us that, that's the way the system works. No, that's not the way the system works. We can do better. So I hope you would ask them to come in and tell us where they're going with their plans very specifically, because it's been a closed session. There's been very little communications, very little openness, a lot of money's moving around, and the people in this county deserve to better to know what's going on. And I realize that everybody's behind. Kids go to high school now, and the first thing the high school people say is, we had to spend the first year teaching them what they should have learned in middle school. And they go to college, and the colleges say, we had to spend the first year teaching them what they should have learned in high school. Okay, and now after they graduate, their employers say, we have to spend the first year teaching them what they should have learned in college. There's something wrong with the system, so I hope you'll bring people in here to talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There are no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, everyone. Move forward to item D1, City Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Bonnie stated earlier, we do have a meeting Wednesday night at 6 o'clock at the Veterans Memorial Hall on information regarding the restriping. We had this flyer out. It's been translated in both English and Spanish and available, and I know that Facebook post got up today around 1 or 2 again to try to let everybody or make everybody aware. if I can just squash one of the rumors that are out there regarding the closing of businesses, that will not be acceptable in this particular project. I would assume that the City Council will approve plans and specs that require all businesses to remain open during all construction of the restriping, very similar to what we did when we did the downtown beautification project several years ago. Even with the replacement of sidewalks, we required the contractor to make sure that they had constant access to businesses. So closing of businesses will not be acceptable by staff, nor I would assume the City Council as well. In regards to the speakers regarding the dance, I'll call it a dance studio for lack of a better term right now. We have been made aware of it. Mike Chambliss and myself had our initial fact-finding sort of meeting this afternoon at around 4 o'clock. So we're on top of that. We kind of understand, and I'll be able to give you a full report once we figure out what the ultimate. We'll see where it actually goes after we do some more investigation. The Red Ribbon Run was a pretty big success. I'll let Dave toot his horn on that. I got 6th this year, which is twice as bad as last year. I don't know, I go the wrong direction. And I think that is it for me right now.
Thank you very much. Move forward with item D2, the Hollister Urban Wastewater Master Plan update.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm going to do this in 2 parts. First, give you a quick update on Chromium 6. As you recall, we made a presentation to you last month where we outlined an approach that would to solving the Chromium 6 issue in Hollister's wells by utilizing facilities that were already anticipated in the master plan. And as a follow-up to that, a member of the city staff made contact with the Division of Drinking Water, State Division of Drinking Water, and outlined the plan, and that person said, thank you very much, you're well ahead of the rest of your sister or brother agencies, and that there's no need to have a preliminary meeting that finalize the report and then bring it over and we'll meet with you and you can make a presentation on the report. So we all feel that that's the right answer and good news. So the next item is the West Hills Water Treatment Plant. And I should remind everybody in the audience and the council that the West Hills plant, which is going to produce high-quality drinking water, is inextricably linked to the solution for the chromium-6 because the produced water will be used to reduce the amount of chromium in the city of Hollister's wells. So the contractor was given a notice to proceed in September, about the middle of September, and we're about the middle of October, so there's work underway for a month. The rough grading is done. They're starting to place some fills in the area, so it's largely an earthwork project now. But today they began trenching and laying the what's called the raw water pipeline up to the plant itself. So the progress is good. It's as planned. I think the contractor is accelerating a little bit because he's reading the news reports about El Nino as well. The next part of that is then that we now know more precisely what the costs of construction are going to be. Again, to refresh your memory, the bids came in at $23 million. It was just slightly over the engineer's estimate, but well over the amount that was planned 3 years ago or 4 years ago before our economy recovered. So anticipated in the agreement, the water supply and treatment agreement, was the very likely need for additional financing, we'll call Tranche 3. So that time has come, and we now have a better handle on the magnitude of that financing. The similar presentation was made to the San Benito County Water District. They understand it. It was also made to the Sunny Slope County Water District, and they understand it and have agreed in principle. And your representatives, Councilman Clower and Councilperson Luna, also heard that the warning that there would be a need for additional financing. And so my message tonight is not to tell you precisely how it's going to come together. It will be done consistently with the other agencies. The amount right now is very roughly estimated, and your share will be about $3.5 to $3.7 million. And I will let your city manager talk about options for achieving that financing. My last point is this does not cover the Chromium 6 piece of the work. As we explained last time, the crosstown pipeline is we have to accelerate that. It was not anticipated in the water supply treatment agreement. And then there are the lateral pipelines that were shown to you last month, and they were not included in that cost estimate. So unless you have any questions of me, I'd like to ask Mr. Averitt to explain the options that you can consider.
Well, and I think we also had a discussion about a month ago on sort of how we would finance the gap that we have going into the West Hills project outside of the crosstown pipeline. We have some reserves. We were talking about, and then again, borrowing additional money to make up that $3.5 or $3.7 million gap. I think the council sort of agreed to being consistent with what Sunny Slope County Water District is doing. We're going through those numbers, but it seemed, if we recall correctly, that it was about $2 million that we were going to borrow as part of Tranche 3, and then the balance would be made up of our water, the funds that we have in reserve right now within the city. So, again, I think what we will ultimately do when we come back for final approval is, again, making sure that we're consistent with Sunny Slope County Water District. We want to make sure that we're in this thing 50-50 the whole way. And then we will begin working on the crosstown pipeline shortfall or gap or financing for that, which is a little bit more complicated than sort of just the West Hills project.
And I'd like to add that for Tranche 3, the part that was just explained, that because there's been a delay in the project, and because there was a certain conservatism in your rate analysis, that we're not anticipating a rate increase to deal with Tranche 3. And I'll let Mr.
That's always been my thing. No rate increase.
So, and that's true for Sunny Slope as well. That's not the issue. It's we don't want any surprises. We alerted the people at the governance committee meeting. I guess that was earlier this month. And the purpose of this conversation is, again, to give you a heads up.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council?
No, I just want to thank you for jumping on that chromium issue, because I know you and your team were one of the first ones to jump on it, took care of that issue, and got us a little bit ahead of the state regulators, so thank you for doing that. You're welcome, and it's always good to be out in front.
Yeah. If I could actually echo that, I think one of the big thanks actually goes to the city council as well, because I know when we started this thing, it was pretty eminent that it was going to take effect, and we were actually pretty scared about what could happen to the city of Hollister with the chromium-6 numbers. And I think one of the things that made it easy for us is that we had the support of council to move forward with Harry and his team, and that it made it a huge difference that we got a lot of the information out of the way in advance, and I think we scored a ton of brownie points with Division of Drinking Water, and I think we expect everything to go pretty well with them, even now that we have a little bit of more time.
It only took Harry about 6 months to teach us what chromium was. And I know more about chromium than I want to, but it's some pretty bad stuff. So,
So I echo also what Bill just said, that there were no secrets here, and we just jumped on it and went forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. You did a great job on it. Thank you. Item E, there is no business. Item F1.
Thank you, Mayor. This item before you this evening is a contract to provide fire protection services with the city for the city of San Juan Bautista. Again, this is sort of the culmination of several months of trying to get this contract together. I want to thank everybody that was involved, from our staff, the staff at San Juan Bautista, and the council members who participate in the Fire Protection Committee on a monthly basis. This contract was reviewed several times, went through a lot of different drafts, but we think we have what everybody has at least agreed to at the committee levels. I know that there was a study session that I wasn't able to attend last part of last month where these contracts were presented to you. I think we made the final changes, and what you have before you is what we will send off to the city of San Juan Bautista's city manager, Roger Grimsley, to prepare a report for their city council to execute. And hopefully they will do that as soon as possible. If you have any questions.
Excellent. Is there any questions from council?
Oh, I should be clear that this that their agreement actually is a 1-year contract. Yeah, so we'll be back in about 2 months talking about it. It's 5 months late, so.
Well, I did have a conversation with the mayor of San Juan Bautista, and they're looking forward to signing a longer-term contract in the future. And there was just different reasons financially for them. They wanted to go with the 1 year on this time around. But he's very impressed with the new chief, and looking forward to the upcoming negotiations on the future contract. Are there any questions from council? Do we have any speaker cards?
No, sir. I make a motion that we approve item F1.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0 vote. Item F2.
Thank you, Mayor. This is essentially the same item, only with the county of San Benito, with one major difference, in that this is a 3-year contract. Again, it was kind of the culmination of several meetings, fire committee meetings, and also the city council's study session on September 29th, I believe it was. If you don't have any questions of me, that's it.
Are there any questions on this item? Do we have any?
The one question that was brought up by Councilman Clower, has that been addressed that you were talking about?
Which
You're concerning about the OES officer handling the grants. We've had that explained to us at the
that is not in this. That is not in this contract, and we will continue operating as we are right now.
Okay. Councilmember Clark?
Yeah, just to make the point again, that my one point of concern, I got over the workers' comp thing. That's not going to happen. But I think the next time that we come around, we need to kind of make sure that there's some kind of mechanism to pay for the growth that's going to happen in the county. Because there are a number of units that are going to be built, and eventually San Juan might come around and build some too. So that's just something to keep an eye out for as we move forward.
I think one of the negotiation points that we made here, Councilman Clower, is that prior contract was based sort of on a CPI. This contract has an automatic inflator in it. Hopefully that keeps up with some growth to some extent. But I agree, it's one of the things that hopefully we can get the county to implement or come up with some sort of a community facilities district for those new homes to help cover costs associated with the new development. And we can share it in that somehow.
We have a speaker's card.
Yes, sir. Marty Richmond.
Just a short question, then a comment. Do we have impact fees built in currently, either in the city or in the county, or both, for that portion of the fire and safety?
So the county and city impact fees are not part of this contract. The city obviously does collect an impact fee on a per door. I believe that the county of San Benito also collects a fire impact fee. The county's impact fees go specifically for county-type projects. They'll be using theirs for Station 3. And work on the Rosa Morada site is continuing, and that's where a bulk of that money will end up going.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I certainly support signing the contract. As I expressed to you, if we're not out there and we don't have Station 3, then a major portion of the benefit that we wanted to get out of consolidating would not be available. I've made the same point to this, as I said I would. I made the same point to the county board of supervisors. I'm happy to see that both of those are on the agenda for the meeting tomorrow, and hopefully they'll both be approved. And I will be encouraging them to make sure that they get that Station number 3 settled down, decide where they want to put it. I am disappointed it took so long to come up with a thing. I understand there's a lot of negotiating goes on, but for our next step is we're going into CEQA. Guess what? That takes a long time too, and a lot of money, no matter what you do. So I will be encouraging them, and I just want to say to the public who thinks maybe I don't have any patience on this, I don't have any patience on this. Okay, I was a safety officer for many years. I think I did a very good job at work. Of course, during that period, I had a fire in my house, so it can happen to anybody. No matter how careful you are, somebody's driving by with a defective catalytic converter. You may, on a dry day, you may wind up with a fire on your lawn. Next thing you know, a fire in your house. It can happen to anyone. It's dangerous, and you depend on these folks to come save you and put it out. And we got ours out, but we depended on the fire department to come around with their magic scanner and make sure it really was out, and that's really important. So I encourage people to get moving on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. No other speaker cards?
Make a motion that we approve item F2, resolution 2015-0204.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, 5-0 vote. Move forward to item G1, reports from city council members regarding their committees. Councilmember Luna?
I don't have a report on that.
Councilmember Friend?
I have a couple committee reports. One of them happens to be the fire committee report, which we talked extensively about Station 3 and the fact that it has now been decided it'll be the Rosa Morada site, and the engineering is going on, and the chief's been out there and made his inspection and his recommendations, and as fast as the county can move on it, it is happening. That's as far as I can go with that. We also talked over the draft terms of the new contracts that we just approved, and thank you very much for doing that. The chief made a report on career development within his department on how he's going to promote from within and how he's going to bring on, cross-train a lot of his people so that there's no gaps. If somebody takes off or stubs their toe, they're going to have somebody to back them up. There's also, which you just approved, the bylaws of that committee, which was just approved tonight. And then the chief gave a report out that was very refreshing to get a report out. Finally, we get one out now that actually tells us what type of work is happening, and I can pass this around to anybody that's interested in knowing about the 296 miscellaneous calls and 192 EMS calls. So it's quite extensive, and it's really helpful to the committee to get this report out. The second report out I have is on the Intergovernmental Committee, which met also, and we talked about how we were going to come together with a sales tax initiative, and there was actually some agreement from the county to help us or to work with us to do that. So you should be hearing something, I hope, soon about how we're going to approach that together to get that sales tax initiatives and the difference between the COG initiative and the sales tax initiative. And that took up just about the whole meeting. So it was, it's recommended from the recommendation was going to the Board of Supervisors to make their change. And once we get that, then we'll be coming to the council with any changes on our recommendations we have on how we should approach that sales tax initiative. The big thing that was talked about was what was presented to us at the last meeting, which was the polling that needs to be done so that we find out that what we're thinking that sales tax would be for is what the city is thinking about. But so I think it's important that we find out what the populace wants to do with that sales tax. So how that's going to happen and everything's going to have to be rolled together, and we'll get back to you on that as soon as we can. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Gomez.
I'll allow you, Mayor Velasquez, to report out on COG, because I think, Councilmember Friend covered the tax portion of it, so there are some scenarios there. So I'll allow you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Clower.
I did not have any meetings.
Okay, so I will start to report out on my many meetings this month. And Councilmember Clower, don't worry, we're going to put you on some of these to help spread the load here. I first met with the Area Agency on Aging Committee in Watsonville to go over where we're at with that committee. It's a partnership including Santa Cruz County and San Benito County, going over some of the funding sources. Federal funds we do get some federal funds, and our local group, Jóvenes de Antaño, handles most of the effort here for our seniors. They're doing a great job. We're going to pay our share of the fee and catch up so we can continue on with those programs which are vital to our community. So I want to thank that group and Jóvenes de Antaño for all the work they do. The other group I had a meeting with was AMBAG. We discussed many of the different projects going on through the state. And the biggest one right now is cap and trade funding that we could actually be using in our community if we could win one of the grants. This year there'll be $16 million available within the 5-county area, that being Santa Cruz, Monterey, San Benito, San Luis Obispo. I think there's one other there. And that really is for proposals or grant requests that include transportation and affordable housing tied together to help relieve some of the congestion on our roads, which helps us if we can qualify for that. I know we had a lot of good deals or good plans here. Mary has presented several ideas, and hopefully we can put together one of the projects that can win. Unfortunately, usually Los Angeles takes pretty much all that money, and eventually we'll get some of that money back from them. The COG committee did start discussing the potential tax that would go onto the ballot in the June election, half-cent sales tax that we would be using throughout the county to do repairs of the roads and also to do some of the improvements of a lot of our major arteries throughout the community. It's a big project. Obviously, it would bring in about $3.5 million a year for these projects. And the next step is start working towards identifying how or where that money would be used on which projects within the city and the county. But there is good progress there, so that's a good thing to have that relationship going on. COG also decided to vote to add a third person to the committee that will be in meetings with VTA in Santa Clara County, which is very important because the solution to Highway 25 is really dependent on Santa Clara County. All we could do is do our part to the county line and go no further. So Santa Clara County's involvement is critical to get an answer to Highway 25 and to the 101, because they need to widen the 101 through Morgan Hill down right past the interchange at Highway 25. So there's a lot of work, and I want to thank Chairman Munzer for going back and taking a look at that issue again and allowing the city to participate. So now the group will have 3 representatives meeting with 3 representatives of VTA, and we should be getting some answers. And we also received a presentation from COG on potential services, commuter services, to Santa Clara County via rail or bus service. So they're going to be doing a little more research to find out how much of the commuters in our community would be willing to use a train service or bus service into Santa Clara County. We can't, the solution to our traffic is not just widen the roads, it's really carpooling or using mass transit. So we're hopeful that we can find a solution on that and a partnership that can bring the rail or bus service to our community. And again, I want to thank all the members of COG for being willing to have these conversations again, which are very important conversations. We will now move to item G2, informational reports from City Council. Councilmember Luna.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had the opportunity in attending the Election Officials Training Academy in Downey, California, on October 8th through the 10th. I found it extremely important. Actually, it was a smaller group than usual. Apparently, there was 55 of us there, and it was quite interesting. Actually, the issues that were brought up from other cities is similar to all of us, to what we're going through. They spoke a lot about building balanced teams among the city council and the community, promoting core values based on leadership. They provided conflict negotiation skills, and of course they addressed the Brown Act. So there was quite a few people there that came in and out, as city and county officials. Actually, we had some attorneys there speaking to us regarding the Brown Act. And I think some of us can read it over and over, but I think having it come back and presented to you by several attorneys, you kind of get the rift of it. So I think it's extremely important. I also had the pleasure of being invited to, and I attended the San Benito County Women Legacy Dinner at Piscinas Ranch. It was a beautiful setting, and quite a few women from the community that were there. There was a display of pictures of women that had so much to do in building this county and this city. And I was just so glad to see so many of them. Some of them were grandmothers to, some of the women that I attended school with. And it was so nice just to see them there too, so I had the pleasure of being there. There was a neighborhood meeting in the west side by a group of people that was held at Calaveras Park on Saturday. I think you all got a flyer in your boxes. So I attended. I went there, and there was about 10 people. They had some concerns and just wanted to talk about it. And I'm so glad that I was there. I mean, 10 people are 10 residents to me. It means a lot. And I think that 10 may very well become 20 and 30 and 40 and 50. So I think I give a lot of credit to Leonard Espinosa, who actually brought people together just at the park to sit around and just talk. And I thought it was a very interesting meeting with the residents of the West Side. And although some of them did not attend that meeting that we had with planning, but they were informed. Some of the senior citizens that were there really had a lot of questions. And so I'm hoping that we can continue to do this, not only in this district, but other districts, just to keep people informed. Not everybody watches it, on television. Not everybody reads the local newspapers, and especially elderly people, senior citizens, just don't go on Facebook and don't go on the internet. So it's always nice to be there. They suggested, Mickey, let's have it inside a building so we could have coffee. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm hoping that we can do something like that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friend?
Yeah, I have a couple items. One is next meeting, which is the November second meeting. November 2nd. You will all be receiving in your package the resolution to establish the Youth Advisory Committee. So I finally got off my horse and got that done. Thanks to the staff for helping me with that. So we should be establishing that. I know I've talked to a few of the kids that were involved with me. They're really excited. They'll be here. So you should be receiving that in your packet. The other thing is I did attend the ladies' dinner. It was pretty exciting. There was probably 100 ladies there and 9 guys. So it was a very enjoyable evening. But it was really cool to see the ladies that, like Mickey was saying, with the pictures around the barn that they had there with the names. You hear the names of places around here, and here's the ladies that they were named after and why they were named after them. And it was really quite an interesting deal. And the other item I wanted to bring up is the matter of nonprofits. And Councilmember Carson Clower and I will be getting together soon to make a recommendation to the City Council on how we treat some of our nonprofits as far as the city's donation to the nonprofit. So I'll be looking for everybody's input that can help us. If you have any input on any of the nonprofits you want to bring up, let us know so we can make sure we get the top 5 or 6 that we're going to get our bang for our dollar for in our donation. That's it.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to attend the women's dinner, but I did grow up with 3 sisters and my mom, and now I'm married with 3 daughters. So I enjoy the women's dinner every single night.
Councilmember Clower.
Are we going to have the special study session next Monday? Okay, so put that on the calendar. There's a lady who walks down Southside Road around, I don't know, maybe 7:15 every morning. Don't know who she is, but I see her every so often when I'm driving down Southside. She just picks up garbage. I think it's kind of her routine to just go for a walk, and she has her little picker thing in a bag, and she just kind of puts garbage in there. So if you're the lady, or if you know that lady, awesome job. It's very neat to see people kind of not looking for recognition, and she probably won't get recognition because I'm not doing a very good job of telling you guys who she is. But it's very neat to see that. Second thing, kind of when code enforcement gets bagged on a lot, and that's kind of just the nature of the job. But I'd want to thank code enforcement and city attorney for some of the work they're doing on kind of substandard housing and overgrown houses, at least in my district. There's a couple of them, and it seems like we're getting somewhere, which is exciting because it's been a long time. And then the last thing, as always, library.
Okay. I'd like to, the conversation with the county is moving along as far as partnerships, and I'd like to see if we can do a joint meeting with the county again, with the Board of Supervisors, a retreat or a joint meeting, And also, we can have a joint meeting retreat with our own planning department separately.
Commission or department?
Planning commission.
Okay.
Or some of the department heads there. And also a separate meeting with the Recreation Commission or the Rec Department, so we have a idea where we're trying to get to, and that way the county has an idea where we're headed to. Maybe we can kind of join together there and plan for our community, so we're looking more as a unified city rather than a lot of different styles going on as far as the road and recreation activities. So if we can schedule that, that would be, I think it's a good time to start moving towards that. That's all I have. City Manager?
Yeah, thank you. So as Councilmember Clower mentioned, next Monday I would like to have a study session, a few items on the agenda. The Veterans Memorial Building and the operating agreement with the VFW and the Legion. Discussion of that contract expired, or that operating agreement expired on June 30th. It's kind of my next one in line. And also, hopefully I can get the joint use agreements kind of squared away with the school district and you folks on some of the fields that we actually have agreements on with those. And then park impact fees and basically just parks and development in general, when credit is given and when credit is not, establishing a policy for that. I just want to make sure that I'm doing as the council wish as we move forward with the newer developments and some of the new direction that we're going as it relates to pocket parks and whatnot. So those are kind of the topics for next Monday. And then I'll start working on getting these joint meetings together maybe in November and December, probably, if that's okay. And then I would like to take, or if I may, pass a little bit of my time off to Chief Bob Martin Del Campo to give you just a brief report on a ceremony that was conducted at Vets Hall. That would be awesome because it was phenomenal. So.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. October 8th at 1800 at 6 o'clock in the evening, we successfully completed the graduation and swearing in and badge pinning of 14 reserve firefighters. They underwent 12 weeks of training at 119 hours of training. They'll continue their training to accumulate a total of 240 hours. The week after that, we put them to use. We had them go to Councilman Luna's district, and they installed smoke detectors to, I want to say, over 175 homes in the area.
Wow.
They assisted in helping navigate groups of Red Cross personnel to the specific areas, and it's good that they're in homegrown reservists because they knew where to go, as opposed to where the Red Cross members were coming from Santa Cruz and other outlying counties. So they were an asset. And in that time, there were several calls for service, and there was no gaps in the service. We had an engine company helping out, assisting with their endeavor, and we had several training sessions for our group to be conducted. So what the graduation culminated to was exactly that, putting our folks to work. And as the graduation started winding down, I like to look in the old logbook that was established in 1875, December 27th, when this department was established. And in that roster, I saw two names that were identical to the folks that graduated on this October 8th ceremony, and the last name was Churchill. And on December 27th, 1875, I seen a Churchill in there also. And there's not too many Churchills that are not related in this neck of the woods. So somewhere or another, there was a relationship in there. And it's just good to see that this kind of community is bound that tight. And the thing about it is that it just goes to show you that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And this was I want to see either a great-granddaughter or a grandniece that just graduated. They did excellent work, and they're going to continue to do excellent work. Thank you.
Excellent. And thank you. The program is doing so much more than I think any of us ever thought, and it's just very proud of what everybody's doing over at the fire department. Good job.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to add to the chief. Before I went to my neighborhood meeting, I spent about 30 minutes there with the firefighters that were there at the table and the American Red Cross. So I knew what they were doing, and you had already mentioned that to me. So thank you very much for doing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
One last thing before I move on is Mayor Velasquez has asked in the past to try to get a representative from Gavilan's College, either the trustee or Steve. I will extend another invitation to them if it is okay with the council to do so.
Absolutely,
Okay.
and I think it is a good idea to bring in the superintendent of the Hollister School District and the high school to update us.
As well?
Okay. We're all working together. So, City Attorney?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Chief?
Yes, a couple things. The Red Ribbon Run was really great. Came off without a hitch. City staff did a great job setting it up, taking it down. I was really impressed. But on that note, there's going to be another race January 30th in San Juan Bautista. It's called the Mission 10. It's huge. I would hope that all of us that can be involved in it will be involved in it. It goes to really raise funds for scholarships for our local high school youth. And that's pretty much the reason why we have it. It's the Rotary one. I'm actually a Rotarian, so I'll be there as well. But on that note, since we were so successful, I think, with the Red Ribbon Run, I'd like to propose, and some of the officers have actually proposed, doing a foot pursuit, a run with the officers, probably in the spring. And let's see if we can pull that off. Since our officers ran it at this time and they had a great time, our officer actually got 6th overall. It's pretty good, but it was a good time. On that note, your police department has done some really good work in the last several years. So well that next week I will be receiving an international award for their efforts in the area of traffic enforcement. I don't want to give up too much because I'll do a live broadcast from the location, but it's something that this program that we've done this last year was something real specific. It was for motorcycles and motorcycle safety, and when we submitted it, we're actually the only police department in the world who got recognition for this. 16,000 chiefs of police voted for it. It's a lot. So again, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but it's I want to let you know. I think I'll try to broadcast it probably Tuesday or late Monday, and I'll put it on social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. It's really cool. And I'll bring it back here so you can receive it. It's as much an award for the city of Hollister as it is for the police department, so it's a big deal. And there's another award that we just got for the city, and I don't have the details on that one, but that's even better actually. And so we'll talk about that in November. Pretty big thing, and that's that award. The second award I'm talking about is a direct result from what you up there did for the city of Hollister and a result for it. So we'll talk about that later. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for all your work. City Clerk.
I attended the Master Municipal Clerks Academy last week in Cal Poly Pomona, and I think they're getting really tired of seeing me because, at least as a student, because they asked me to come back as a teacher next time. So I'll be teaching other California city clerks how to do it. It's quite an honor, and I'm very, very happy about that. And I wanted to thank you for including the training funds in my budget. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you. All right, HIJK, there's no business.
Move for adjournment.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 5-0 vote. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out tonight.